Hello, friends. This is Christopher Davis-Shannon, and today I'm checking in with Marc Gallagher. Marc, how are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. I've got a day off from my regular job that I've picked up, and I feel really well rested today. It's quite nice.
That's what I like to hear. And finally, an excuse and some time to play some music, I guess. So, would you mind just kicking us off with a tune?
Yeah, certainly. I'll do one of my own ones if you don't mind. A crowded room, December and Friday night. The beat flows free, and the youngsters running wild. Several hundred faces, none I recognize. I excuse myself, try to get some air outside. Tip on my shoulder, I turn around, feeling somewhat confused. Exchange introductions, and at hello I was enthused. I offered you your favorite drink, and I'm so glad you didn't refuse. I made a start, I'll let you make the next move. With the faces blurred, there's a focus on your eyes. We start getting closer, start getting more tactile. I'm calling stage to liven up the night. You step up to dance, I wish one of my feet were right. It's in the crowd, dancing ground, keep falling into my view. A wink or two sends you away, you seem charmed and amused. We've both been lonely for a while, I think you can be my muse. I've made a start, I'll let you make the next move. A step off stage, and we found somewhere quiet. Listen to your passions and some background of your life. We practice our Spanish as we find halfway go lives. Stay silent and close on a first sparking night. Y vio la duda en tus ojos azul. We can go our separate ways, both got nothing to lose. I leave my number just in case you want to start something new. I've made a start, but I'll let you make the next move.
Very nice tune, Marc. Yeah, I love that because I think you're actually the first person I'm interviewing here. I think primarily as a songwriter more than anything else. I've had so many musicians from different genres on here, and people that certainly write their own tunes too. But I think of you myself personally as a songwriter more than anything else. And it's great to have someone who really just specializes in original music more than anything. Sure. I know you play all types of music, but what got you kind of style that you're writing into now?
It's kind of tough for me because as a songwriter myself, or musically, I was brought up on Radio 1 and Now CDs. So Radio 1 is like the mainstream station over in the UK, and Now CDs are compilation CDs that are basically of mainstream music. So it was.
I remember those back in the day.
They're on cassettes back in the day as well.
Yeah, now that's what I call music, volume 4.
Yes.
We used to have the TV commercials advertising. You remember they'd have the little 5-second clips of each song that just run into each other, and then I wouldn't know what any of the songs were or realize that it's 3 songs, and then I'd try to sing along when it came on the radio. I realized like 3 songs mashed into one.
Basically, yeah. For me, the first one that I got into was Now 61 back in 2005, I think. I must have been about 9. So I was into those for a bit. And so I grew up a lot on mainstream music, and like my music, I describe it as like 2000s era pop. That's kind of just what
inspired me. But I also take inspirations from country music lately. There's Brad Paisley is one of my favorite songwriters, and even on the sort of like even in my local scene, there are some songwriters who I really admire. They do sort of like indie style, and I just kind of really gravitate towards great songwriting like that.
Right. I think there's something to be said for genre aside. Great songwriting, no matter what. And a good song can even transcend genre. Even so many old Beatles tunes that are covered in such different ways, or even Johnny Cash's cover album where he covered 9 Inch Nails on there in such a way that you would never expect it, but the tune still holds up so well. And I mean, do you feel like that's part of your goal as a songwriter, to write songs that affect people outside the way that you necessarily even musically present them, but songs that kind of stand alone?
It's a very good question. For me, as a songwriter, like you mentioned that I'm specializing as a songwriter. It's something I'm definitely trying to push more in the ukulele world, but I also acknowledge that I'm kind of like a jack of all trades. I have that trait about me in that, like, I try and keep versatile, and I know that that's almost to a fault in that when people try to pin me down as an act, it's a bit tougher because I do a lot of different stuff. Songwriting is the thing I try and push forward now because it's something that artistically, it just really resonates with me. As a songwriter, my approach to songwriting is just feelings. I sometimes do challenges, and they're really fun, and I've had a lot, like half of my albums are from like challenge and prompts I get, but I like just generally taking my feelings and just letting them out and expressing them in a way that I probably couldn't with speech.
Certainly, yeah. That's what I mean. It's another language to speak in, right? Which is a beautiful. We can all kind of transcend the language with music and still get those emotions across, even if we don't understand everything, which is beautiful. I know you also you speak German as well as English. That's taken you to a bunch of different ukulele festivals that many people don't even know about in the English-speaking world, because it's just an entirely different scene. And out of that, you've been doing a lot of collaborations over the last year with people at festivals and at home and all that. I really like seeing all these videos that you're putting out, featuring other performers and like really making music with them. But the question is, who's your favorite person that you have collaborated with so far?
Oh, like you said, I've done a lot of collaborations, and it's up until pandemic hit, I was putting out one every week. In the uke world, my favorite is probably Charlotte Pelgen. She is one of my favorite people. I adore her, and I've adored making music with her and like Bad Mouse Orchestra people. They're one of my favorite uke acts. She's one of my favorite people. And, so we had the one of The Lady's a Tramp, which I did back in February.
That one was last, yeah.
Thank you. So that sort of was one of the first collaborations that I did that really put it on the map. It was the most liked video of mine at the time, and so that was a class one, and I really enjoyed that. We revisited it we did a festival called Ruhrkulele in Ruhrgebiet in Essen. That was back in November last year, and we did the song Falling Slowly from Once, and that one was beautiful to play because it was just like the end of the festival. Everyone was just sort of like piling out and just drinking their last pints and stuff, and just found a quiet room to just make that video. It was so intimate and it was lovely. Also, shout outs probably go to Victoria Vox. I did a collab with her in Berlin, and that's my most liked video ever thus far, and that was class. You know, she was about an hour removed from her headline slot at the festival, and I'm really grateful that she took the time. And I like the fact that through this, it has also helped raise my own profile and show that I can hang with these really great musicians.
Yeah, and that's one of the joys of the uke world, I think, is that, you know, we all hang together regardless of skill level or anything like that, especially when you're at a festival. Like, everyone's just there. See the bigger name acts that they're they're happy to just hang out and play tunes with everyone. And that's beautiful. You don't see that in a lot of other music scenes. We have this unique little bond in the ukulele world that makes all of this so much more accessible to everyone, I think. And that's one of the joys of playing uke, is that. You know. With that, would you mind playing us another tune, Mark?
Yeah, certainly. I'll do another one of my own. This is off my album, Songs from Happy Winter.
Midnight past 3 hours and go. The outsider is still. The clock ticks by like the candlelight, whose imprint we sit by to feel. Your cherubic sighs ripple through the fire, sing stories and secrets to me. I didn't feel the flames, but I felt the intimacy. Daylight peeps through your window, reflects upon your skin. They perceive one from tea leaves, enveloped from within. It sits where you lie in clothes that were once mine, as you awake peacefully. I didn't feel the warmth, but I felt the intimacy. I love her style and I love her voice, her conversations too. You can remove those last nouns, my words will still be true. She can't help but inspire my growing desire to tell her what she means to me. I didn't feel the warmth, but I felt the intimacy. To pass in these feelings I have, and I don't want to lie. I'll let my jacket hold its warmth to you when we step outside. If you can't forgive the hand I write with and the words I send out to thee, I don't see this with love, but it's said with intimacy.
That was a great tune, Mark. What was that one called?
That was called Intimacy.
Interesting. There's a nice. I really like the like Travis style picking that you're doing on soprano. That's a lot of fun to do. A lot of people just like to strum, and it's great to hear some of that fingerstyle stuff on there.
Thank you. The song was born out of that finger picking style over the verse. I had the verse instrumental part down, and it was just humming melodies, and then eventually just throwing words into there that kind of fit. But it's nice with ukulele. It's so sort of beginner heavy, and I want to kind of not show off, but I like to kind of showcase that this can be more. And actually, more importantly for me, I think just that picking style just suited that song better. And one of my big golden rules is to serve the song.
Right. It's so important. You have an album of original music that just came out a few months back, right?
Indeed, I do. I released Songs from a Happy Winter in December this past year.
That's great. Now, is that just a solo record, or do you use a band on that recording?
It is. It's kind of both. That song recorded is just very like my own uke and my own voice. But the song, it was a concept album. Written last year, in which I challenged myself to have a really great winter, in contrast to my previous album, Songs from a Shit Summer, which was from a different time. But I challenged myself to, in between the months of December and end of February, just have a great time. I went traveling, met awesome people, and I used that to write an album. So in terms of recording, I used the studio near where I'm based, and my previous 3 albums have been self-produced because I'm a sound engineer myself, but it was really nice to just have my artist hat off this time round. Instrumentally, I play everything on the album save for drums, so it is all full band. It's ukes, guitars, bass, drums. I play piano on it as well, and it was really rewarding to be able to have that.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to create. You know, you get so used to. I know you do a lot of pub gigs and things like that. You get so used to just playing by yourself. It's nice to have that range in the studio to be able to approach a new arrangement for a tune that you're creating in such a different way in the live context, and really have the freedom to make it something different.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean in terms of with pub gigs and the way one is used to arranging songs it was challenging in places, trying to find ways of you had to find a way to reduce the role of the uke to make room for the other elements and the other instruments in the piece. And that's difficult, but also it kind of fits into my previous ethos of serving the song ultimately. Right.
And yeah, and definitely with arrangement, you know, the range of instruments has such an impact on what you're able to do, where luckily, like, you know, guitar and bass don't overlap a lot, especially when you're playing guitar. I mean, bass and uke don't overlap too much, but when you throw guitar into the mix, you got to be careful on uke to make sure that you're not stepping on anybody's toes. And same with piano, which is a skill in and of itself, to just be able to arrange the instruments so that they layer correctly. It's not just a matter of playing the right chords.
It's a quote. I mean, as a sound engineer, a good quote that I remember is "Good mixing is good arranging," and that's something that's stuck with me. And I mean, arrangement, it was all down to myself for the sake of this record, and I hope it turned out okay. It's one I'm kind of pleased with, and it's nice to, you know, I see too often with bands, especially. People want to kind of show off and, for lack of a better term, sort of get their shit in. And it's important to know when, as a player, to kind of dial back in places.
Yeah, that's the hardest part a lot. Once you have the chops, is to not use them all over the place and actually appreciate the song for what, like the pop music, indie rock, more than anything. You know, there's less of a place for all of that, but it's necessary to have the technique, but then learning to reel that back in, as you say, you know, really suit the song is something that's so important. It
reminds me of the quote, you know, a good musician knows when to play, a great musician knows when not to play. That
exactly.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that's really tough to learn. You know, you get told it so many times, but till it's in practice for you, you don't truly understand when to just not make noise. Sometimes that's a lot more important than actually playing.
Definitely.
Mark, would you mind playing us one final tune?
Yes, certainly. This one is a new one. It's not released anywhere, but it's one that I wrote about. I went to a ukulele festival in Galway, Ireland. I had the pleasure of playing there, and I wrote a song just sort of like as a love letter to the city itself. This is a song called City Bells.
Step off the plane, breathe the wind of a land I've never been. Swap the air for the rails. This place hide behind my screen. Breathe the cold of the ocean breeze. Voices that remind me of a forgotten home. Through the bars in the center, decorated with banners and posters, with my face on. And those city bells they call me. And at the time I didn't want to leave. I left behind stones left unturned, and faces that wait for my return. I felt the nightlight in a fourth of a Latin kind, with a pint in my hand, dancing to the buskers outside. Flags of 1,000 nations, the colors breathe air into the cobblestones below. People of 1,000 nations have walked these streets, foreigners welcomed as one of their own. Those city bells, they call me. Another time I didn't want to leave. I left behind stones left unturned, and faces that wait for my return.
Well, Marc, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and joining me. I'll put links down below to Marc's website as well as Patreon, where he releases new music and teaches as well. So again, thank you so much for coming on. And would you mind just playing a little bit more music to take us out?
Yeah, sure thing.